petty and stupid can you be? It is frickin' cringy, ridiculous, overdone, over-exaggerated, incredibly flawed, as the title says. And here's why. This entire embargo on Starfield has been ridiculous. Not only does Dreamcast guy not put more thought into the other places that either review bombing, how it could be review bombed, as well as other places where the votes count. I remember there's so many stupid things about this. There are literally I can't remember her name, but she's got like really blonde hair, or is it white? And she was attacked over playing Starfield. And you know who I'm talking about. It's frickin' ridiculous. And then there's the guy with Alex. It's Alex, who blocked him and is being an absolute dumbass on his channel. Not even worth mentioning that dude. And there's just so many stupid things going on based around the whole Starfield debacle, and it feels petty as hell. You know how Velma had hate watching? Well, apparently there's hate buying, as people have, PlayStation fanboys, whatever, have bought multiple copies of a game just to freaking downvote it, to dislike it. And you have to realize Steam is not the say-all, be-all when it comes to reviews. There are other websites for that, whether it's Metacritic, there's also Xbox, where the game is. I feel like this is just a lot of people. Like, I do agree with one comment I've seen on a video where if it was on PlayStation, it wouldn't get this much hate, but because it's Xbox. And I don't remember Xbox fans. I don't remember the last time Xbox fans went to buy just to hate on a PlayStation. Hell, they probably don't even own a PlayStation 4 or 5. And the last time they went to hate on something like that, you have plenty of goddamn exclusives. You have sucky ones like Forspoken, and you have great ones like the one I'm playing, Bloodborne or the God of War. Would you feel the same way if God of War was only made an Xbox exclusive? You probably try to attack that too. There have been so many games that used to be PlayStation exclusives too that are now just multi-platform. Crash Bandicoot, frickin' Ratchet and Clank. Well, Ratchet and Clank now is mostly PlayStation. What else is there? There's Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid. Those games have all been multi-platform. I think Ratchet and Clank has always been PlayStation. But still, Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell, Silent Hill, like those games have all been made multi-platform games. And you got like Bloodborne and Demon's Souls, which Demon's Souls still hasn't come to other platforms. And Bloodborne hasn't even come to PC yet it says beloved as it is. Same with similar things with God of War. There were the comparison videos. I feel the comparison videos are not only not showing a whole lot between Starfield and Cyberpunk, especially. And I feel like the Cyberpunk fans are stupid too, because they took advantage of the situation of the PlayStation fans attacking the game. And they took that advantage to also attack at the same time and then promote the hell out of their game. They're just freaking mad that there's not many games that are like the Cyberpunk universe and that it failed in the first place as hard as it did. But I don't like those developers because even though I'm not going to say that there are every fan, and this is the same with PlayStation fans. Not every fan within PlayStation or a fanboy of Starfield or Bethesda or Xbox or whatever, not every fan should be categorized as awful. And I feel like some YouTubers do that. And then when they go to take back what they said and reword things, it's too late. We've already caught you off guard that you're classifying everybody as a dumbass. That's not how it is. As long as the saying bound to be is there, bound to be this or that, you are wrong no matter what direction you take. But it is probably better to take the high road or to not be as much of a dickhead. Unless they are big dickheads. The only people I'm talking about when it comes to the PlayStation Cyberpunk fans are the kind of people that you would see Actman make a hot takes video on and has made a hot take video on. Those are the kind of people I'm talking about. And there's been so many people, there have been a lot of people saying that Cyberpunk sucks in the past, and those are warranted for different reasons. That game was frickin' rushed as hell. It should not have been. It's similar to Fallout 76, but you're gonna sit here and tell me that Fallout 76 is better than Starfield? Get the frick out of here with that nonsense. There's clearly, and like back to the thing with Velma, where there's hate watching, there's apparently hate buying. People have been buying extra copies just to fricking hate on Starfield. It's been ridiculous. There's entire YouTube channels dedicated to it, even with the YouTubers having their big face front and center and these ugly ass giant words next to them and stuff. Really awful thumbnails using the same face, almost like they're Sniper Wolf. And then just saying all sorts of stupid things, having the same goddamn titles. There's even the video saying Starfield's ruining streamers' lives, and it's like, really, you're gonna take a video game? You might as well say video game violence caused real violence, because that's just as stupid. It's ruining streamers' lives. You know why it's ruining their lives? It's because they're rushing the game. If they did that to any other game, unless it was similar to the feeling of something like the complete... This is the same argument I make for the completionist, because the completionist also rushes a lot of his games and has different takes on them because he has to rush through them. And I don't think that's fair. Most games are meant to have that you put time into them and not freaking rush the hell out of them. I know it's his job, I know he has to rush it, and I know those streamers are doing similar things, but frick off with that stuff. It will most definitely sour your opinion of that game. Same with people making comparison videos. Of course that's going to paint your opinion of that fricking game. Like, that's ridiculous. Especially if you let it do that. And they're not even showing everything that there's supposed to be comparisons to. There are a lot of things they're missing in those fricking videos. They're missing dialogue options. They're missing how merchants interact with you, how the police interact with you through dialogue options. They're missing other dialogue options. A lot of it is dialogue option based, but there are other things too. Like, take for example, and we're not talking just Phantom Liberty. Phantom Liberty does do a few things that fixes the main game, but the main game still has its flaws from time to time. When it comes to when you actually find wildlife on a planet or something in Starfield, opposed to a moon, which you kind of have to expect something like Mars or a moon isn't going to have the kind of life you expect. It's trying to simulate that somewhat realism mixed with fantasy and sci-fi or whatever. And, like, of course, Mars is going to have a lot of empty spaces. I think the greatest video, is his name JV? I can't remember the name of the channel, but he did a video titled, Is Starfield's Exploration Bad? And he brought out how, unless you're looking for that stuff, you should be looking for the stuff they actually put really good effort into and stuff, or the stuff that you find you're having fun with. Because different people have different fun with different things. Not everything's going to be the same feeling for everyone. And yes, some games are divisive than others. That was the same deal with Dark Souls back in the day. Dark Souls isn't for everyone. Are you going to expect the same? And I feel like people are petty because they know they're not going to get the next Elder Scrolls 6. This kind of crap is going to repeat again over Elder Scrolls 6. It's going to be freaking ridiculous. And PlayStation fans have been taking the biggest dump out of everybody, and it's extremely stupid because you're giving money to the people you're hating on. Just like you're giving views to Velma for hate watching. You're just giving us more crap like Velma, and you're just giving Bethesda money, you dumbasses. You also have to realize that there's a refund time limit on Steam. People can probably abuse that, as well as people can do something like if they have either a controller or keyboard, depending on what you're using, you can either rubber band the stick or put something heavy on one of the keys that moves you forward, like the W key, and just have your character running forever within your game, and that would count as gameplay time that you spent. So it's freaking ridiculous. The reasons I don't care about Cyberpunk personally, and I find that stuff ridiculous, like if you like Cyberpunk, props to you. Cool. You found something you like about Cyberpunk. You have fun with that. Don't let me or anybody else ruin that. But if you're going to ruin it for other people, like constantly saying every single freaking update that it's better now, no it's not, and then other YouTubers do that, no it's not better, it still sucks videos. I know there's just as much as both sides, but goddamn, it's freaking annoying, it's in your face, it's one of the most overhyped games. It makes Skyrim look like nothing in comparison when it comes to the hype. It is ridiculous. And it's like, if you watch people like Manly reviews, there are obviously flaws with that game. I think if Cyberpunk had a great sequel and they actually brought a lot of the things they promised to life for real, I would think that that would be better than the first game. I think the first game they should have either fixed it to whatever point they can, like they are now, and then work on a better Cyberpunk sequel. I never found the main two characters, V or Johnny Silverhand, interesting. They were kind of dickheads most of the time, even when you followed Johnny Silverhand. It's just a freaking disaster of just so many stupid things happening. Whether people are attacking others or being assholes. No. There we go. There. But yeah, people are being really childish and stupid over this. It is obvious it's not flawed. I think one of the best videos is probably Mike Burn Fire's video, where Zach really loves the game, finds it even close to how he feels about Fallout New Vegas. And then you got Mike not enjoying it as much. And even though later he says a lie that kind of makes you think, oh, maybe he's a little bit wrong, because he said he didn't enjoy most his first time experiences with every other game. But I do think it's still a perfect video for describing. I do think Starfield could be found divisive amongst people. But I don't think it's nearly as bad as people are making it out, and I think it is because of pure hatred, pettiness, and just people wanting Bethesda games. I think they are honestly desperate for wanting Bethesda games that come to their console. People have a large respect and love for Bethesda games. There's a Bethesda magic to stuff like Skyrim and Fallout 4. And you know that Starfield is eventually going to get mods on consoles. It might not happen too soon, but it will happen eventually. As well as there are other things still going on with Starfield that will be happening in the future. I don't think Cyberpunk's going to have that, as well as October and November are going to hit really hard hit your wallet really hard. So you're probably going to even forget all of this nonsense anyways. But in the moment, in the here and now, or whenever it goes on, wherever it goes on, it is freaking stupid as hell. It is highly flawed. I want to bring up back to a video talking about streamers' lives being ruined. Other than them rushing the game, and of course that's going to paint your perception, and the fact that they are not showing many of the comparisons that you could actually make between both Starfield and Cyberpunk, as there are a lot of things they both even out in that they would be on the same level of good, honestly. Like, you got good physics and water physics and all that. And they did comparison videos between Zelda and Horizon back in the day, and clearly Zelda was better. But did that mean Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West were necessarily bad games? No. Same deal here. Frick off with that nonsense. And there's just a lot of stuff those comparison videos are missing. But to come back to the stupid video that was titled, "Oh, Starfield is ruining streamers' lives," that is extremely stupid. And them rushing the game is just, of course, that's going to paint your perception of a game. It would do that with any. It's the same. Once again, it's the same problem I have with the Completionist. The Completionist had a Skyrim video back in the day that he deleted. He hated playing that game because he rushed it. He rushed the hell out of it. And it was similar to a couple other games that he rushed. And then you're going to tell me that this is the worst experience when I could say that a video game is the equivalent of a kid's toy. Even adults have toys. They're more adult themed, but they have toys, whether they're based on video games or whatever. And it's the same dumbass argument Angry Joe has problems with when it comes to even Fortnite. You have even toys based on rated R movies or immature games that kids play, and hell, there are kids playing stuff like GTA and Call of Duty anyways. You got like RoboCop toys, Terminator toys, Alien toys, Predator toys. Those were all made for frickin' kids. I was just watching some Ren and Stimpy stuff with Powdered Toast Man. That was made for kids, bro. That was made for kids. And if you watch that stuff, you're like, what the frick? But I love it. I think it's funnier now than it was back in the day to me as a kid. Cling to my buttocks. But no, cling tenaciously to my buttocks. But it's just freaking ridiculous. All the over-exaggerated hate that has been going on. And this isn't the only game getting that. Baldur's Gate 3 had freaking hate going towards it. And I think one of the reasons people highly defend Cyberpunk as well is it's really the only thing that is based on, is it a board game? What is it? A tabletop game? I don't remember. But it's the only video game based on that, where like Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer have plenty of virtual video games and all sorts of stuff. Cyberpunk doesn't have much, and they're defending the crap out of it. Dude, just get a sequel. Just wait for a sequel. I hope they make it better. I hope they rely on doing a better job with the sequel. At this point, the first Cyberpunk has problems. I still think it has problems. Yes, there are now police that chase you and such, but it still has a lot of the same problems. And what I also want to bring back to the, like, when you go on a planet that actually has wildlife on it, that wildlife feels alive. It will either run away from you, just chill out and hang out, be skittish maybe, or will legitimately hunt you and attack you. It feels more alive there. When you're in Cyberpunk, there's just these little groups of people that hang out in specified areas, and you have to go close enough to them or cross a line with them that actually makes them freaking mad, and then it brings up that slow-mo mode, and it's freaking stupid. I just learned that apparently people are not liking the level scaling in Cyberpunk as well. Whatever. But yeah, I don't find that it does everything better than a Bethesda game. That's why I use Skyrim and Fallout 4 in comparison to it back in the day, because somehow they did things much better than Cyberpunk, even now. Like, once again, if you enjoy Cyberpunk, fine, whatever. You can have whatever game. It's the same with just about any game, if you join any game. But don't be a dickhead about it. Don't go off attacking people. Don't go off harassing people, whatever it may be. It is getting freaking ridiculous and over the top, and I can tell how petty these PlayStation fanboys are being. And once again, I want to make it clear, I'm not talking about every PlayStation fanboy. I'm not talking about every Xbox fanboy. I'm not talking about every Bethesda fanboy. Because once again, there's bound to be people on both sides. There's bound to be dumbasses that make dumbass things, say dumbass things, whatever. And then there's the side where there are people who are constructive, well thought out, and have constructive criticism or feedback, whatever it may be. The fact that those points of view exist and those people exist make you wrong no matter what. If you start to categorize all of the fan base as all awful, which I've seen some stupid YouTubers do, and then you have to take the possibilities of other things they're possibly doing, like maybe they're exploiting the time limit of the refund time limit on Steam. Steam is not the say-all end all, by the way. There are other sites and places where the game is reviewed and talked about, whether YouTube, Metacritic, Xbox itself, its reviews on there, whatever. And Steam is not the say-all be-all. And then there's just all these other petty assholes. PlayStation fans, sadly, when it comes to the bad ones at least, are not making a good image for the rest of the community. They are looking like a bunch of hypocritical dumbasses, and they need to stop. And I'm going to call them thoughts just because I want to. But it's gotten overbloated, it's gotten ridiculous. It is everywhere as much as freaking Cyberpunk is and was. It's annoying, and I am freaking sick of it. I hate that the Cyberpunk fans took advantage of the opportunity of PlayStation fans, once again, the ones that are being dumbasses, not everybody, and attacked at the same time. And then you gotta remember, like, even CD Projekt Red isn't entirely flawless. They've said some stupid things. They bragged about their game even when it was broken as hell back in the day. I know you should forget and forgive, but remember when they had the announcements for Phantom Liberty and Cyberpunk? I remember Angry Joe touched on this. I don't care about Angry Joe anymore, though. But he touched on this stuff, and they were bragging. They were blaming you, the people. Maybe not everybody, but they were definitely blaming people in general just for the poor state of the game. And you're going to defend that crap? Frick off. Once again, not everybody within those communities are bad. But people who classify them, like a certain YouTuber I have talked about and tried to be very vague about even, who's a simp for Asmongold, is being a frickin' dumbass and needs to stop. It is just ridiculous. Different people are going to have different opinions, different points of view, but when you start attacking people, doing all sorts of stupid stuff, like the stuff we've seen over time, once again, I'm not saying that Bethesda or Starfield fanboys are any better in ways, but at least I haven't really seen them attack anybody yet, not that I know of. But goddamn, it is really petty, the stuff that is going on. Once again, I can't remember the name of that lady that I guess used to work for Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation. And she was just showing off some things in Starfield. And people just on her Twitter or whatever were just like, how dare you betray PlayStation or Sony? You should be fired. And it's just ridiculous. This stuff is freaking stupid. Once again, not everybody is saying that or doing that, but those few people who are freaking stupid and need to stop. You should never do that kind of stuff. It's the same with death threats and stuff. But once again, you have to keep in mind too that not everybody is sending a death threat. If you're like Angry Joe and you classify everybody as sending death threats and not clarify what you're going to say, what you mean, to, like, say, for example, Anita Sarkeesian, then you look like a dumbass. So, of course, you're going to look bad. It's gotten ridiculous. I want to come back to the streamer thing once again. I know I keep drifting off to other things to talk about. But when you think about, streamers' lives are horrible because this video game, the equivalent of a kid's toy, if mixed with a freaking, like, digital media, like a movie or a TV show, like if you mix the two, that is what is kind of the equivalent of, or have become the equivalent of nowadays. And people take it that freaking seriously for a news video, which honestly, you should just watch Yangi. I would even suggest IGN, and I hate IGN, but I would rather suggest them over some of the YouTubers that are extremely biased and just their entirety of their channel is just meant to attack both gamers and other games, and it's just freaking ridiculous. And they have various flaws, as previously mentioned, with their frickin' thumbnail to their title, using the same crap. I may not have perfect titles and thumbnails, but at least I have a legitimate excuse for that stuff. I am not as rich as some other people are. Hell, my computer is not in good shape right now, and I need a new one, but I am having a hard time trying to find that new one and save up the money to get that. The recommendations of different PCs or what people recommend to me, like my friends or whatever, like build your own PC or maybe buy a PC, that would be good. There's so many different things people recommend to me, and I'm all sorts of conflicted and confused, so I don't know what direction to go. I was even wanting to buy a PS5 just so I can play Baldur's Gate. I should probably also get an Xbox Series X just so I can actually play the update, because they're not updating the Cyberpunk on Xbox One and PS4, of course. So those will never get the 2.0 update, not to the same extent that other people are getting on the recent consoles. And yeah, the petty level, like I haven't seen petty levels even over stuff like Halo Infinite or Gears 5 and stuff. It's been over this frickin' game. And I wonder if they're going to do that to Obsidian with the game Avowed or the next Outer Worlds too. Like, I wonder if they're going to do that same thing. That would be frickin' ridiculous. I feel like it's going to happen a lot lately. And yeah, it's been pretty stupid. And people have been majorly salty over this crap. But yeah, when people are doing stuff on streamers, oh, it's ruining their lives. There are people suffering around the world of different things, whether they're homelessness or they're suffering from lack of food in general. Like there's people starving around the world, or there are people who are victims of various crimes and stuff, or there are people who are so depressed that a certain other word comes to mind that they want to do to themselves, but I won't say, and they need help, the help they can get. And this is what you're reporting on, is whose life being ruined by a video game, a virtual kid's toy. And there are people around the world suffering. And you decide that's more important. Screw you. You see how stupid that sounds? It is ridiculous. And it's probably multiple YouTube channels that do that. There's one in particular that is absolutely ridiculous and stupid. You can tell it's written all over their goddamn channel and videos. I wonder what other dumbass things they've defended and attacked. They know who they are if they're seeing this freaking video. Their videos are basically the equivalent of that one time that Evil Redfield decided to be a dickhead to their community in chat. But I'm sure they're trying to make up for that, be a better person. A friend of mine told me, actually a couple times now, that they took down the video because somebody else told them they went too far. But yeah, it was freaking ridiculous. And that's what the equivalent of a certain channel, especially that I'm talking about, is freaking stupid. Even me and my friend, when we were doing our Cyberpunk videos, since I could only use my phone to record his, he didn't have a good computer either to use my Elgato. So I had to record on my phone, and my phone did end up dying, and we had other things to say about Cyberpunk. He didn't really like the gunplay of Cyberpunk either. I wouldn't say that Starfield's gunplay is better, but I would say that it's definitely something I would be more connected to, would play more, and I find more refined. Where Cyberpunk, I don't like some of the accuracy of some of the guns. There's some guns that are fine. I don't like the what was the other thing I was talking about? Was it he would have to come on to talk about it, but frick, what is the name for it when your gun is just like going up so much after shooting? Basically that happens a lot with a lot of your weapons, or at least a good few of them. That's freaking annoying. And like they still haven't really implemented many of those traits that we were showing you through our 3 videos, and had more to. I'll probably do another video and try to get him on talking about the combat, why he doesn't find the combat as good. I've watched other people's videos of the combat. It does look pretty cool how they make it, but you can do a similar thing with freaking Starfield. I was watching, is it JV once again? I can't remember. He's the one that did the video titled "Is Starfield's Exploration Really That Bad?" And when he was doing his combat sections, he actually did manage to make it look cool, and there are other people who have also managed to make it look cool. I feel like there's some biased people in Asmongold's chat that are making him purposely, whether through donations or whatever, purposely watch certain videos over others. And then, of course, there's the comparison videos that are leaving out so many things you could compare that even Starfield would win over freaking Cyberpunk in. Like, Cyberpunk does not have nearly as interactive or interesting store owners or stores as Starfield or Skyrim or Fallout. And then there's the same with the police. The police, if they catch you, they will actually have different dialogue options, or if you join a certain faction, like, say, you join the Thieves Guild or whatever, you have more dialogue options, as well as perks. Same with stealth. You can level up stealth, and people trash on the stealth, but you don't realize you can level it up and be better at stealth and such, as well as there's like invisibility and all that. So there is more to stealth that people aren't really saying. It is freaking ridiculous. People are missing out a lot of things or leaving out a lot of stuff, and sadly the people getting that short amount of context are not getting enough, clearly. Once again, if you don't like Starfield for legitimate reasons, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. I do see why it can be founded as a divisive game, but look for the places where they put effort into and where you find the fun for yourself. If you don't like the exploration, then experience the story or the side quests or the faction quests or whatever else makes the fun for you, or maybe outpost building or ship building. There are a lot of creative things. Basically, Starfield has the same setup that we find so awesome about the recent Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where it has that building feature, and so many people have made ridiculous things with that, like Metal Gears and such, and Penis Fireman. And then with Starfield, we've seen so many cool ships people created, whether Star Wars, Star Trek, Battleship Galactica, Batman's freaking Batwing, all sorts of stuff that people are making. I wonder if somebody's made Thanos Copter yet. That would be funny. But yeah, there's still a lot of stuff there, and you need mods and there's never going to be mods coming to console for Cyberpunk, and you need mods just for flying cars, and even then, there's not enough air traffic in the air to make it feel lively, where Watch Dogs Legion has a bunch of drones flying through the air delivering packages and all that. It feels more lively. Cyberpunk just does not feel compelling or alive to me, and it has so many plot holes that are so stupid, but because of those beginning couple hours, it does kind of trick you into thinking the rest of the game is going to be legit really good in its story. I'm not saying that the gameplay isn't, but there are things I don't like about the gameplay. Like, we were showing how the cars were on a weird delay, and that was a downloaded game on Xbox Series X. That wasn't even played through cloud, and it was being that weird with the driving. And then there's stuff like the oh, I almost freaking walked off the edge because I'm in thought. Should I go down here? Like, maybe I should, because there's things to fight. Oh, is that a pig over here? Yeah, I think the pig is. Yep. But I find a lot of what the hell's going on? Oh, did they see me? Are they coming over to me? I think they're coming to me slowly. Not sure. But there's different places to find fun. I just found that like even like you can't really steal. There's mostly just stuff that you're supposed to take. Really, you can't really steal from people's homes. Most homes are locked. Anyways. And honestly, even though you can use certain abilities to see through walls, I find that just as like I thought people were annoyed by that, honestly, because it's in so many games, like Assassin's Creed's Eagle Vision or the Arkham games, Batman Arkham games. It's in so many things, and it trivializes the stealth. Like, you don't need that kind of stuff and stuff like Splinter Cell or Metal Gear. You do have heat vision and such, but it's not completely necessary. And you have freaking, you can look around corners, or the camera angle helps with that type of gameplay. And then there's different routes and directions. Like, it just ruins that stealth and doesn't make it nearly as fun. It makes it feel too easy. I don't find the stealth nearly as that great as people try to make it out to be. That is freaking stupid. And there are other things I could say about it. I don't find that enemies just kind of hanging out, as well as the enemies are fairly generic. There's not enough enemy types, honestly, or just even iconic enemies. I see people use the word iconic for guns and stuff in Cyberpunk, and it's like, you know how to use iconic just as much as Ubisoft does. It's freaking stupid. It's like, oh, this iconic Assassin's Creed spyglass. Yeah. What? You know how to use the word iconic? And I feel like it's the same thing here. It's like, why are you saying it's iconic? It's not even that big a deal yet. Unless it's in the old, like, tabletop or board game, whatever the hell it is that Cyberpunk comes from. I don't play most board games or tabletop games. Not anymore. I mean, I love the typical stuff, Monopoly and such. But I would love to get into that stuff eventually. Dungeons and Dragons is a really cool concept. I like it, and I've seen really cool things done with it. And then there's Warhammer. I did used to play Warhammer back in the day. I will say that. But yeah, I just don't get into them as much as I used to. And it would be cool to get back into them. They're even cool. Like, I would love the Bloodborne. There's like some Bloodborne game boards, as well as Dark Souls. A lot of game boards based on video games. Even Witcher. I love The Witcher, and that's CD Projekt Red. I think The Witcher has a way better, more interesting world and lore than Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk has that Destiny problem that I hate, where it's like either the lore is not like given really good explanation, or it's just barely in the game. But yeah, I think that's all I have to talk about. I'm not trying to say that one game is better than the other, but I am saying that the fanboys that make the experience worse and have overbloated it, over exaggerated, and so on, have been so ridiculously stupid and incredibly stupid with what they have been doing, and incredibly flawed, hence them buying extra copies to the game company that's apparently what they hate and their greatest enemy. But I feel like they're just being petty because they know they no longer are going to get many Bethesda games, and they probably really like Bethesda games, because I've never seen this kind of stuff happen with other games that used to be PlayStation exclusives or whatever, like Metal Gear Solid, frickin' Silent Hill, Resident Evil. Those used to be only PlayStation for the most part. I mean, there were a couple times they were over on Nintendo consoles, but yeah, a lot of those used to be mostly PlayStation. Same with Final Fantasy. Like, Final Fantasy has multiple platforms for some of their games too. And I never saw them get so worked up. And it's so outdated now, just fanboy console wars and fanboy crap. It is so outdated. It is ridiculous. And it just, because of how ridiculous it's gotten, that could also sway your opinion of each console because you're giving such a bad name to it. But you're just one or two people or so that are being dumbasses over it. I wouldn't say everybody is, but sadly, it just paints a terrible image. And you're not, while you aren't the employee, you are acting just as unprofessional as a terrible employee, or as the example I have used for people like Angry Joe, where I've said you don't attack your customers. That is a bad idea. You should be a professional employee. You should not attack your customers, and there are better, more adult ways to handle the situation. That is not at all what has been going on with this whole stupid fiasco around Starfield, and it has gotten ridiculous. I was sad to say that Dreamcast guy even has some problems. I hated some of the stuff he's been saying, and that he doesn't put more input or think about other alternatives that could be going on when it comes to possible review bombing or whatever. Like, it's gotten ridiculous that even Dreamcast guy is looking a little dumb. Or not stupid, but I would say that he needs to rethink things, and he needs to think outside the box a little bit and say to himself, like, I wonder what else there could be that they could potentially be doing. And I even made a comment in that video where I said, could they potentially be exploiting the refund limit, because it has a time limit on it. So yeah. Yeah, I've never seen people so petty before. It is freaking ridiculous. It's never been this ridiculous before, and it's so stupid. And I think the cyberpunk fanboys that use this opportunity to also attack should be ashamed of themselves too. Like, frick off. You're just as bad as when Cyberpunk originally launched and they made all that ridiculous amounts of merchandise, yet the game was badly received for the most part. And yet it had all this merchandise like t-shirts and action figures and statues and all this other crap. And it's like, really? Your game isn't even that good yet. And you're doing all this stuff early, and then you overhype and probably even gaslight people using your anime. So it's freaking ridiculous. The anime was good, but not that good to overhype. Like, legitimately, the hype for Cyberpunk in these areas has gotten overbloated and ridiculous. It needs to kind of simmer down, because then people like me won't be freaking annoyed and not want to give many more tries to Cyberpunk, because it just sours our taste. And of course, like I said, it's going to paint your opinion differently, but it shouldn't. But sadly, it's just gotten so out of hand and ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. So hopefully people have found something constructive or interesting, or different points of views from this video or whatever. I know I mostly stood around with my character. I have trouble trying to think otherwise. But yeah, and I want to put as much thought into what I'm saying and doing, or mostly saying, than anything else. It's gotten ridiculous. It's gotten out of hand. I hope it comes to a stopping point. I hope October and November are those times where it comes to a stopping point, because then people are going to forget all about this when games like Alan Wake 2 and freaking game, though those are Xbox exclusive. I wonder if they're going to attack those too. We'll keep an eye on that stuff in case, unless they actually notice that people are on to their stupidity. Then they might not. Or maybe they get tired out. I don't know. tuckered out from their own stupidity. But either way, there's still a ton of games. Even Nintendo has a bunch of great games. I know the Mario RPG, there's the Metal Gear Solid trilogy, even though you probably don't want to play it on the Nintendo Switch because of some of the things I've been hearing. But there's that. There's, I guess, a new Sword Art Online game. There's the new Mario and Sonic game. There's a bunch of stuff to look forward to. There's the Alone in the Dark remake. There's a ton of stuff to look forward to. You got Yagi's Like a Dragon, and what else was there? I know that Avatar's come out December, but that's December. There were a bunch of others. Sorry, I hit my mic. There were a bunch of other games. I can't remember what they were called. Hopefully the audio, by the way, for both the game and my volume is fine, so that it's not too overpowering. And by the way, graphics isn't everything. I've seen a lot of people find other ways to try to diss on some games like Starfield or whatever, just by saying, oh, your graphics aren't as good or they suck. Graphics are not everything, bro. Art style is king. There have been YouTube channels that have talked about this. Art style conquers over graphics. Just look at Bloodborne. It's not graphically amazing, but goddamn that art style still fucking lasts the test of time, bro. You should be more focused on that than freaking graphics being better. Honestly, they weren't that good as people were making them out to be. And freaking Cyberpunk. They were good, but not that good. Also, you're still freaking in the passenger seat being driven around in cars, even in the Phantom Liberty DLC. I thought that stuff was freaking outdated. How many times do you have to do that crap? Maybe it's not done nearly as much, but it's still just as outdated and stupid. If you're doing enough with the characters and the dialogue's actually meaningful and interesting, fine, but I didn't really find most of the dialogue meaningful or interesting in situations like Panam and such. And then there's just padding situations, like when you're putting the frickin' dynamite, setting the dynamite up to blow up that tower, to take out that ship, and then it fails, and Panam just comes out with a rocket launcher and shoots anyways. Like, you spent 20 minutes or so doing all that, and then a frickin' telegraphed frickin' car chase fight just for her to do one simple thing that could have taken just a couple seconds. That's freaking ridiculous. I don't care how hot Panam is. That's stupid. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. I will see you guys later. I don't know why I started ranting again. Once again, if you like Cyberpunk, fine, whatever. That's you. That is you. Don't let anybody else ruin that for you. I know I've got very ranty about Cyberpunk, but that is because of those fanboys that piss me off, and I still want to make it clear, the fanboys that would potentially end up in a hot takes video, for example, are the fanboys I'm talking about. I'm not talking about every fanboy or fangirl, whatever. Fan something. Most of the time people just say fanboys, though there could be other fans, whatever. So am I being the one being like, just don't gender splain to me. Oh. I always find that kind of hilarious because I feel like that shows you how cringy the whole thing with people just trying to like because I had somebody on my channel be like, oh my gosh, how could you call Jim Sterling he? Use the correct pronoun or whatever. It's like, there was a whole stupid pronouns fiasco over Starfield. You're seriously gonna bring this stuff up? And while I apologized and made it clear that I didn't know much about Jim Sterling at the time because I haven't watched Jim Sterling in forever, that was still incredibly stupid and felt just as cringy as when you call something splainin'. And that felt like gender splainin'. That was as cringy as that was. That was a perfect demonstration of how stupid that was. And it's flawed, too. Because, excuse me, you're not going to know who wants to be referred to as what unless they tell you or you know them well enough to know that thing. But if you don't, then People are going to mark you as a target either way, like some dumbasses that they are. Once again, the Brian Regan joke on don't ever guess somebody's gender wrong. You'll never get out of that. Somehow that has aged well, and it perfectly explains the stupidity of that scenario for me. It's ridiculous and how overbloated it can get. And it's somehow worse than what Brian Regan has made the joke about. Because it just looked like the person was mildly annoyed that you accidentally assumed their gender differently. In other cases, there are people that will literally cancel culture you or just go over the freaking top in anger and frustration with you. And it's like not warranted, it's ridiculous, and they're not thinking of the other conclusions and such or potential things that that opposite person may or may not know about that person, if that makes any sense. But it's freaking ridiculous. I don't know why I brought that up either, but I thought it was just something that I kind of drew into as I was talking. That kind of changed the course of the discussion and tied into something I was talking about previously. But yeah, and you can rewatch and probably see why it tied in. I don't remember. I have a terrible memory. And some people have, like, when it comes to certain games too, you have to realize that some people don't have that, what's the word for it? They don't have the, I'm thinking capacity for it, like, forget the word for it. God, yeah, I don't remember the word. But yeah, some people don't have the, it's kind of like when you don't focus on something too long, and or some people don't focus on things too long or have that brain capacity to focus on things too long. I wish I remembered that word. I'm sure somebody could say in the comments below or whatever. There's something I'm thinking of, but I can't remember what it is. But anyways, I think that should be whatever the word is for that should be a contributing factor too to how some people think about video games or how they might feel or whatever. But anyways, I hope you have a awesome rest of your day. Don't let this stupid nonsense that has been going on get you down or get in the way. It's just been building. There's been a lot of YouTubers now that have been catching on to its stupidity and how ridiculously bloated and over the top it is. I'm one of those people. I may be a smaller channel, but there are also bigger channels than me that are catching on to this stupid stuff. And I hope more and more people catch on to it and realize how over the top and ridiculous it has gotten. It is really stupid. And I hope it dies off for good. And it doesn't because if you see it coming to the other games like Elder Scrolls 6 and such, then you probably know it's not very legitimate. It already isn't legitimate. So it's pretty stupid, outdated, ridiculous, and over the top, and over exaggerated. So I hope you have an awesome day nonetheless. If you did enjoy this video or found constructive or interesting things about it to discuss or talk about or whatever you find, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments below, and I will see you guys next time. And don't forget to hit the bell for notifications on my recent content. I mostly do live stream videos, but I probably should do legit videos too, because more people are going to probably see that stuff in their notifications over the live streams. So I don't know. We'll have to see, and I would love to live stream more. I have a lot of stuff going on in my life. My roommate's currently in the hospital right now. There's just a lot of things that have been on my mind, other than the stupidity of these PlayStation fanboys and such, and the stuff they've been doing. Once again, not all of them. I can't believe I have to clarify that so many times. But yeah, I think you should, because some people come across the wrong way when they're doing that. Like I used the example of Angry Joe. But yeah, Hopefully you have a great rest of the day nonetheless, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Stop being petty.